All right. Next up, we have Joe. So, Joe, would you do your MCS for us, please?
Sure. At an off-track betting club in Philadelphia on the night of the 2004 Kentucky Derby, Jessie is finishing out her shift behind the bar when she comes across a former disgruntled employee, Scott Bauer, who has come to exact his revenge via witchcraft. Unfortunately, on that same night, on that same night, a regular of the club, a man named Salt, has decided to stage an armed robbery. So when Scott's plan goes sideways, he opens a portal to hell and unleashes a demon that has taken an interest in Jessie. The robbery spirals into a hostage situation. So Jessie is locked in the building with the demon and the other hostages and their captors overnight, forced to stave off the physical and psychological attacks of the demon while she watches her friends get picked off one by one. All the while, she is facing her own demon and going through opiate withdrawal. While this is all happening, she's forced to work together with Salt to find a way to not only survive, but defeat the demon, and they form a trauma bond. When they eventually discover Scott's notebook and find a way that they might be able to find the demon, they set off to do so, fail, and ultimately it is Salt that sacrifices himself by trying to pull the demon back to hell so that Jessie can survive. The police arrive, Jessie lives, all the dead bodies get blamed on Scott Bauer. But then over the years, no matter how hard she tries, Jessie never really escapes either of her demons.
Right. And she dies. Unhappy.
Yeah.
Very good, Joe.
Thank you.
Just one suggestion for you. Every word in your MCS has to count. So the suggestion is you just record it and X out anything that is passive voice. Anything that is. So for example, you said Saul decided to, as opposed to Saul robbed.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's going to tighten it up a little bit. But excellent.
Thank you. Thanks.
So it's Justin's turn to comment.
You
Pause. Let's wait for Justin to get back. How are you feeling now, Joe, about the project?
I feel fine. I feel good. I'm not confident. I feel fine about it. It's just daunting, finding the time. That's it. But I like it now.
Good. All right. You ready for comments?
Yeah.
Justin, take it away.
All right. On this week's episode of I'm Scared of Reading Your Stuff on the Subway, Joe.
Something is wrong with your volume.
Can you hear me? Is that a little bit better? Okay. Yeah, just another week of me being scared on the subway reading your stuff, Joe, is what I was saying. Yeah, a great I almost said episode. Great chapter. I liked it a lot. I wanted to point out the things that I specifically liked. I love the confrontation between Carla and Jessie. I think that was probably my favorite part of the chapter. This feeling of like, as someone who can get really grumpy when I'm hungry or something like that too, and I don't get to have that thing, you did a really good job of showing just how nippy someone can get, especially with addiction, when you get so trained on that thing, ooh, I could grab it right now, and then all of a sudden, it's this I've experienced this as well. It's it's that feeling of like almost embarrassment that like you know what you're doing is embarrassing, but like you still want it, and then all of a sudden like someone sees you doing that thing, and then like I got all of those emotions in that moment, and then the fight that like between them afterwards I just thought was really great. And then bringing that around full circle, I loved Carla kind of grabbing Jesse's arm, in the face of danger later, as well. I liked these little, I thought this chapter did a really good job of giving us a little bit more about these side characters that I didn't really care so much about before, to be honest, other than like our main, I would say Jesse, Salt, and maybe Brian. I liked this did a really good job of giving life to the other characters, because I know some of them are probably going to die at some point, and this will make me care more when they die too. So I think that it is I thought there was a really good transitional chapter in that regard to take a break to give levity to some of these other characters that maybe weren't getting as much time before. Let me see if I had any other notes, but I think that was pretty much it. I said, honestly, I thought that Sid was going to die this chapter, the way that you were talking about him so much. So I'm still expecting that, but the way that you described it and everything, I don't know, I was kind of waiting for that to happen. But again, I think that falls underneath the umbrella of just doing a really good job of giving time to some characters, some background to characters, how they tie into Jesse and their own stuff moving forward. So great work.
Good. Thank you, Justin. Jackie?
Yeah. I also really enjoyed this chapter. I think I didn't realize it was in 2004. So loved them being on AIM and all that. I was like, oh my gosh, a throwback. So that was really fun. I don't watch or read a ton of thrillers, but it felt like, so in the best way, it felt like Jurassic Park, and I was waiting to see who was going to get eaten next. And I like guessing who's going to get eaten next. I also thought it was going to be Sid. But I liked that it wasn't, because I like trying to guess, and then I like being wrong when it makes sense. So this chapter is like, oh man, like I was just forgiving Carla and not being pissed at her, and now she's gone, and now I feel bad. So that was really good. I liked that. And gosh, let me see. Oh, so I just had a few questions while I was reading. One, I was so mad we didn't get to find out what the AIM message said. And then I was annoyed that Salt blocked the cameras. I was like, why did he block the cameras? That's really weird. I assume we'll find out later. But I was like, what is going on? And then, did they know that the demon is sensitive to light before, or did she just figure that out in this chapter? Because like it was a good, I'm glad they figured it out. I wasn't sure how they were certain that it worked though. Because I think when she turned on the lights, I was waiting to see like the demon react in the cameras, and I don't think we got that. So I was like, I hope it works. We haven't quite seen it. But then them getting chased through the hallways and the lights getting blown out was fantastic. But that, I was like, I don't think I made the jump along with them, but great moment. I liked it.
Good. Very good, Jackie. Interim thoughts, Joe?
No. Thank you.
Okay. So,
I just hope I don't disappoint you guys when some of the things that you think are not going to happen.
well, I think that will be not wonderfully disappointing, right? Because you've misled people, misdirected people. I think it's an interesting misdirection here. So let's talk about that first. We spend time talking about Sid, and yet Carl is the one who eats it. Now, it'll be interesting to me at
Carla didn't
least.
die yet, did she?
Well,
She did
she's
not
on her
die
way.
yet.
She's
No,
on
but
her way.
I think we're just
I-
insinuating that she does next.
Yeah, I think
but
she's about to die. But I think it will be interesting, and it may be too late for this, but it would be interesting if through the contrast between Sid and Carla, that somehow Jesse pushes Carla into the danger zone while protecting Sid. I don't know. Maybe that's too much to add, but it's worth a thought. I mean, the question, bless you, is I've always been, digging into this question of whether how the demon is selecting the people he's going to murder, how the demon is ordering them, right? So he picks Carla, right? Supposedly. I mean, I'm pretty sure Carla's dead. Next chapter. Why does the demon pick Carla instead of Sid? Well, a reasonable answer, and this may not be what you intend, is because Sid is closer to Jesse and he's sort of moving from the periphery closer and closer to her. Or maybe that's not what you intend. But if it is, and you can insert that in there, then it starts to make sense. And then what it does is it gives Jesse even more guilt, right? When Carla bites it eventually. All right. The main comment I have is your orientation in this chapter was fantastic. We've talked about this a lot, and you really pulled it off. It was creative, and it linked the past to the present goal. The whole thing, the history, Sid, the accident. I like this line, like all good deeds, Sid would be punished. Jesse's failure, we're going to get him killed. Which feeds into this larger part of how much, not really Jesse's agency, but how much the demon is punishing these people because of Jesse. And I think that you intend that to be Jesse's belief, which is fine. But then that thought has to carry through across all the different deaths, the demon murders in the novel, right? Jesse's getting each one of them killed, including Carla, right, in this case. And you set up the room well. The only thing I would like you to add is a little sense of time, right? Especially because this is a thriller suspense kind of thing. So how much time has passed since the previous chapter? How much time did they spend screwing around with AOL and the Allen key before the chase scene? A little bit more clocky. A little bit more on who Angie is, and just a reminder that Brian's the boyfriend. We talked about the agency. A more minor comment is I don't think the grammar in the last sentence is correct, but I could be wrong. That was the happiest Jesse had or would see Carla again. So I'm guessing you're missing a comma, I think. But more importantly, I think you haven't quite, it's a quasi cliffhanger, but I think you could just arrange it a little bit differently. I don't know. Do we want to see Carla murdered in this chapter? Maybe. Do we want this line to go into the next chapter? Maybe. The question is always, for me, is what's the demon up to? Right? The demon is doing something. We're on chapter, 14? So maybe we need to but observe more demonicness in this chapter. But this is a really, really strong chapter, one of the best you've ever done. And there's not a lot to say, but a little bit of sharpening at the edges. All right. Thoughts, Joe?
I don't think so. Thank you. You should, if you were taking notes, you would know how much time had passed. So
I was not taking notes. Well, that's another reader empathy thing. We want to take notes for the reader. I guess the way to think about this is one of those dungeon auto mapping functions, where as you explore the dungeon, you get a clear map of what's going on.
Yeah.
I know you said that in jest, but we made
no, thank you. Super helpful.
This
you.
is just a tremendous work, right? Again, I'll just reemphasize this. How can just words on a page scare somebody, right? It's an astonishing phenomenon, and you did scare me. So excellent work.
Thank you very much.
Bardsy delivers the tools, guidance, and support you need to produce compelling novels. Our well-researched and thoroughly tested approach includes our minimum complete story, a 90-second exercise that keeps your writing on track while fueling creativity. Bardsy Publishability Index, a 23-dimension checklist that offers attainable goals and provides actionable feedback. And our brand new comprehensive character developer that helps you construct unforgettable characters. Come see for yourself at Bardsy.com today. Try a workshop or enter our first chapter contest. Then, when you're ready, Elite Membership delivers writing groups, personal coaching, and a curated community. With Bardsy, your work will captivate everyone, from agents to publishers, and, most importantly, your readers.